Now, otters are obviously fantastic climbers, so much so that we've recently done some renovations and put some anti-climbing things in here as well, but we'll get back to that too. Now, throughout the show, like I said, we're going to bring some toys and things like that, some enrichment items, so I'll go grab the first one and then we'll go. There we go. Now, if you came here before the show started, you might have seen me come and pick up some stones from the ground. Now, enrichment, I'm about to prove, doesn't have to be fancy by any means. All I've done is pick them up off the ground and actually popped some of their fish in and made it nice and dirty. Come on, Mayhem. Now, what otters instinctually do in the wild and hopefully in captivity is actually wash all of their food before they eat it. Obviously, not having probiotics out in the wild, they just wash everything. And that's basically the reason why. So they've got these great dexterous little paws, 4 fingers and a thumb, and they essentially just use them like we do with gouging out any sand and dirt and things like that, all from all the nooks and crannies. So it makes them a really clean animal, believe it or not, even though it doesn't actually smell like it. So by doing this, we're encouraging those natural behaviours and also encourage them to dig through and sift and forage as if they would out in the wild, and make it a bit of fun for them as well. Now, I did mention these guys are super intelligent. Now, if you've got children, their brains are about the same as a 4 to 5-year-old child. They think a lot like cats as well, so they do their own thing. So it makes it good fun to work with. But because of that intelligence, we like to push them to their boundaries a little bit. Now, if you caught the show this morning, you might have seen Rosie possibly be on her boogie board or play fetch with her rubber ducky. Now, we basically do our days around training for medical purposes. So if something goes wrong or if they're not feeling well, they feel comfortable enough we can get them to the vet. But because they are so intelligent, we do like to stimulate them mentally as well and teach them a few behaviours that don't serve any purposes. Hence Rosie's boogie board and Mayhem talking into his microphone. But we can also do some things and just give them some toys as well. So we've got some examples. Rosie's already waiting for it. Now, enrichment, like I said, doesn't have to be expensive. We used to spend an absolute fortune at the pet shop, but then we figured out we can just make our own stuff. So feel free to pinch any ideas, or if you've got any, bring them back this way, because we do this every single day. This one was actually pinched from the office, and we don't know who we stole it from, so hopefully that keeper never comes and watches the show. But this has become Rosie's favourite toy. So she's got to pop out all the drawers, and we've just hidden her food throughout all of this. So it's basically like encouraging them to forage, but in an artificial way. There we go. So we'll pop one down for Rose. We went to good old Kmart the other day and got a baby toy. So I popped a prawn in there. Hopefully, you go on. Go get it. Hopefully he'll swim around and get that one. And I've got some for the other side. Now, if you've got a dog or a cat, this is a great idea at home. It's just a tennis ball with a little slit popped in, and we pop their fish. So for these guys being so dexterous, they've got to figure out how to open it and pop their paw in. So we just basically encourage all their dexterity every single day. I might even make it a bit tricky and put it in the water there for her. See how she goes. And I will bring some over the other side as well. Now, our training, like I said, we basically do base it around medical checks. Now, otters in the wild only live between 8 and 10 years old, which isn't actually quite long. So I'll give Mayhem this one. They've got the prawn in there, and a great one for pets as well. Paper towel roll hole ender. I don't know, you'll have to piece those words together. It's a bit of a tongue twister. If you put the ends down and pop some of their favourite treats in there, it makes some good fun to figure out how to get all the pieces out as well. Now, if your dog's not if it's not intelligent like mine, he's not the smartest little boy, he'll actually just eat the paper towel hole roller, and that is completely fine, because it's just paper and it will pass through, so you don't have to worry about any nasty blockages or anything like that. But as you can see, for these guys, they're so intelligent, it's just a case of figuring out how to open the ends and get all the goodies out. I know she's got turtle. Right, I might just wait for her. Rosie! She might be a bit cranky if we let this go without her. Well, Mayhem's being very patient there. I think we've actually found a toy that has stumped her, which is fantastic. So this little turtle we actually got because it is actually meant to swim in the water. Now, by giving them something like this with a bit of food that can float around in the water, encourages them to be quite instinctual with their prey. Ready, Rose? Go! There we go. Not bad for an 8-year-old. Hope I look that good. Now, with these guys, if you think that they look actually quite young at heart, that's got to do with their resting heart rate. So when they're nice and relaxed and just minding their own business, their resting heart rate sits at about 200 beats per minute, which is basically a heart attack for us. But with that heart rate, it helps them metabolize their food really quickly because they actually eat 1/3 of their body weight on a daily basis, believe it or not, which doesn't sound like much, but if we divide ourselves by 3, it is actually quite a huge amount for their body ratio, so it makes it lots of fun as well. Now, we've said their intelligence is mentioned it quite a few times. Now, that's actually the one thing that's saving them out in the wild. Now, with deforestation and habitat destruction, they're losing their homes pretty rapidly. But obviously, we are expanding, we do need homes. So the thing that we are going to focus on today is actually the exotic pet trade and a little bit on the exotic fur trade. Now, I don't know anyone who would want to take one of these guys home. And to be honest, when I first started working with them, you could have signed me up for 30 of them. I probably spent about 30 minutes with them and I would have taken all 30 of them back. They are so intelligent that they run rings around us, and people are taking these guys straight out of the wild. So they're so instinctual. And you think about these guys living in captivity for 14 and 16 years, and they definitely chase us around every now and then. So you can imagine what a newborn little otter would be like being taken into a family home. Now, just by some chance that you are able to get an otter, these guys will never ever gel well with your family. Now, a good example of this is if you have a cat and a dog, or say you have a cat or vice versa, and you bring one home, worst case scenario, they absolutely hate each other's guts. What they're going to do is find a bit of common ground to give each other a bit of mutual respect and stay away. Or best case scenario, they end up cuddling every single night in bed. These guys, however, will never ever do that. There is no amount of domestication that will ever familiarise themselves. Ooh, nearly stood on your tail. He's so little. Will never ever familiarise themselves with other animals. So, if you were to bring Mayhem or Rosie home, as sweet as they are, well, the first thing they're going to do is actually check the perimeter and make sure it's all clear. And Mayhem does that so well. Being a male, he loves the smell of his own poop. And he will then use that poo to mark his own territory. So after he's been to the toilet, he'll then cover himself from head to toe. He'll be so proud of the mess. And then he'll march himself around the edge of the perimeter or enclosure, or maybe your house, and actually transfer that poop all over the place to stop anyone else coming in. And then if you have any children, cats, or dogs or anything like that, they will then chase them out of the home as well. So if you love your children, I wouldn't suggest this, but if you've got some adult ones that want to go home, I'm sure we could sign an indemnity form for the day. But they unfortunately will never ever gel. So these animals, with their intelligence and their instinctuality, are being brought into homes, and they're doing so poorly that they're dying from mental problems, basically depression and things like that. So unfortunately, even in this environment where they look fantastic, it's really easy to remember that we have a team of 15 of us that work around the clock to maintain them, so we can tag team and then let the other person in on the action. Makes it good fun. But it's actually their intelligence that's saving them out in the wild as well. Now, fishermen in Southeast Asia have grown up around these guys in their local waterways, and they've also been headbutting over the years trying to catch all that fish. Now, they've come up with the most simplest solution, and that's basically teaching those wild otters to do their jobs for them. So when they rock up now to do their fishing, those otters aren't fighting for the fish, they're actually working and bringing the fish to them, and they're doing that basically like sheepdogs. So in the wild, they have mum, dad, and up to 20 babies all together, so huge families. And then what these fishermen are teaching them to do is get into a straight line and basically do an emu parade and chase the school of fish directly into one of those fishing nets. The fishermen then can pull up those fish without them being eaten and attacked, and then they know to always reward the otters. So these guys are so intelligent. If they turned up to do their fishing gig one day and they weren't encouraged by getting more fish, they simply just will not turn up the next day, and they'll be back to square one with fighting for these otters.